I think as a Mason today, I have a right to speak up, and that is to say that the coming years are going to be of the greatest importance to the Masonic order. By some mysterious circumstance, which is no one has noticed as far as I can tell, the 21st century has a strange reminiscence to the 21st year of a person's life. This is the year of the coming of age. It is at that time that theoretically the person adult is an adult. So on the 21st birthday of a nation, something very important must be considered. It must be the time in which that nation comes into its maturity, comes into its responsibilities and its opportunities, and comes to take on the charms and the labors that are important to it. And we find in the records of the early Masonic work in this country references to the things that were accomplished under certain conditions. In the next few years, therefore, we are very likely to realize that we are at an impasse. The situation is serious. The stumbling and grumbling processes that we use will not prevail. Every day we come into worse condition. Every day the water is worse. The earth is more polluted. The air is more tainted. The more difficulty, the destruction of natural resources, the continuance of war, the development of destructive weaponry. All these things go on. Now, if they go on long enough, something is going to happen. Something is going to remind us that man does not have the right to destroy that which he did not create. He has not the right to take a beautiful world with all its privileges and opportunities and turn it into a purgatory. Every day we read the paper, there is more selfishness, more cupidity. And in a few years now, we're going to come to this period of a new generation. Now, there are a lot of people who are hoping a lot for this new generation. They are hoping that we're going to make a major step forward. Well, I think we will, and I think we will succeed. But I think it is very important that this situation should remind Freemasons that they have something to live for. They are not in something that was just an accident or an incident or for which they're paying dues. They have taken the obligations of being there when necessity arises. In the long, peaceful years, they can enjoy their own way of life. But when emergency arises, it is the duty of those who are dedicated to the common good to stand firm and do that which is necessary. It is time for them to begin to work with this problem. Almost all of the secret societies of the past have been dedicated to clean up jobs. They've all come like the Knights Templars to take care of the corruptions of various beliefs and doctrines. They came to take the place of political corruption that was beyond hope. Every day, in every way, the brothers were at work, sometimes secretly but always continuously. And in the next period of time, it seems to me we have Masonry's coming of age. Whether we realize it or not, it has been with us in one way or another for over 4,000 years. It has led us through many desperate emergencies. It has given us the strength to do great things. It has given us Washington and Franklin and Jefferson. It has given us all kinds of disciplined support. It has given us great ideals and great hopes and great visions. And now comes the time when these have got to be put into action. There is no reason why there should not be a powerful reuniting of the light of Masonry in the hearts of every Freemason. We're not asking for treason. We're not asking for disobedience. We're asking for dedication. We're asking the nation to get down and do what is necessary and possible for him to do. To do things for his own family, do things for his community, take a new interest in his children, to become more and more aware the need for the regeneration of his literature and his art, to no longer support with a kind of a negative complacency things that he knows in his heart are not right. We don't ask him to do anything violent, but we think it would be very good for him to stop doing those things that he does not have to do, because those things which are not consistent with Masonry are not for him. We know that a great time is coming, that Masonry is no longer going to drift along. Masonry is not going to do little nice things. It is going to keep on its great charities, of course, but it is also going to become a personal problem, a personal matter, with every Mason thinking in terms of his own son and his own daughter. Every Mason unwilling to support that which he cannot consider to be ethical. The time is definitely here, and in this coming century, we're either going to have to make this adjustment or we're going to find a very serious collapse on our hands. If we do not make this century, our natural resources will be so distorted and diminished that we will be in great difficulty. There may be more wars and rumors of wars, but these can be avoided. There can be and should be what Nostradamus' seer pointed out. He said in the closing years of the 20th century, there will be great confusion and sorrow and misery upon the earth, and great wars and troubles. But at the beginning of the 21st century, the Paraclete, the Prince of Peace, will come, and there will be a long time when the world will be in a blessed state of understanding. And to bring that understanding about, the integrities, the dedications, the beliefs, the hopes and ideals of the secret organizations of the last 5,000 years can be brought together in one definite purpose. There is one definite purpose, as we find God has given America to be free. To be free, it must be free of its own weaknesses. It must be free of a sort of lazy situation that is not mindful of the sale of munitions to other nations, that is not able to control the development of these destructive forms. We can't ask, and we don't ask them to do anything illegal, but we ask them that in every way possible, when they have the choice, they stand for truth. And if necessary, stand and take a little punishment for it. Because from the beginning of time, Freemasonry has been punished for its love of truth. But out of its punishment came the United States. We were founded by Masonic pressures. We were founded by Masons. We were founded by some of the best minds of our time, the most dedicated minds of our time. We were founded by people who sacrificed much and also gave their lives in many cases. But we came through. We came through because of a definite determination that the way of light shall prevail. Therefore, it is very important to us to make sure that this light does prevail, that it goes on to help us with all the things that are necessary for us to do in order to keep this world going. Now, in this particular case, we have education to think of. And this is close to the heart of Mason. We have the great need for the restoration of idealism as the basic agreement of element of survival. We have a great need and a great determination that all these things that are happening shall be lessons well learned and not lessons rejected. As we go back over other nations and other places, we also see fine things that they did and things that we could possibly do to help. I think we can all remember with some measure the struggle of the 17th century, which was probably one of the most interesting periods. Masonry was there under its own name. There's no question about that. It was the day of the alchemists. It was the day of the Illuminati. It was the day of all the mysteries and symbols of the Rosicrucians. It was a time in which society was attempting to transmute itself. It was seeking to turn base metals into gold, ignorance into wisdom, false doctrines into truth. And a mysterious order appeared at that time, It has never been completely identified, but it published certain manifestos telling the world that there were those who were behind the scenes who were working and would continue to work and would never cease working until the great labor had been accomplished. The great transmutation of alchemy is the transformation of selfishness into integrity. The transformation of selfishness and all that it pertains to into the unselfish life of truth. We shall see people for the first time as brothers. We shall recognize forever the dangers of wealth, the dangers of misunderstanding. We shall know definitely that we are capable of bringing back the golden age by lifting ourselves out of this age of gold.